In a moment, we're going to take public comment. Since Mark West came back in the room, I have one simple question for you, and that is, could you please put to rest the rumor or fact, you're going to build a cryo plant in our township or not?
You're not.
Thank you. Okay, now we'll open it up to public comment. General complaints, discussion, please state your name and address. Please limit yourself to 3 minutes and address all questions to the board.
Hi, Dorothy Bassett, 206 Jefferson Street, Midway. I just had some technical questions about the compressor station unit there. Now, how many engines total are going to be there?
Well, actually, there will be no engines.
I mean, compressor.
Well, electric motors.
Okay.
And I believe the answer is 4. 4.
Okay. How will blowdowns be handled? Are those going to be done with blowdown injection, or is it into the air?
That's the second question.
Yeah, that's why I was.
Okay.
Do you want me to answer that?
If you wish, you don't have to. If you wish, you can. Because I'm not sure what she means by the question, the way she's asking the question. I mean, once it's semi-explained, then I'll know what she's talking about. I'm not exactly sure.
Could you clarify what exactly you're asking?
Sure. I mean, when you take it down to be serviced or whatever, and to depressurize the equipment, I know that a lot of times with regular compressor stations, there's a venting of the gas that's in the system. And sometimes this can be very loud. It can go on for a fairly prolonged period of time. I'm not talking days, but it can be visible. So I'm just asking, I know that there are different ways of handling that. I know that there are ways of using blowdown injection, where you're capturing all of that and putting it back into the system. And then there are other ways that, that some companies do where they just vent it out into the air. So I'm just asking how that's being handled.
We build all of our compressor stations to have vent blowdown silencers.
Okay. But it's still going into the air as opposed to going back into the
Those
system.
are for emergency shutdowns.
I'm sorry?
Emergency shutdown, where you want the gas to be evacuated from the facility for safety purposes.
How often do you do an emergency shutdown?
I need your name and address.
I'm sorry, Lisa Graves Marcusi, and I'm from Pleasant Hills, Pittsburgh, PA.
Not to sound dumb, but could you spell that for me?
Oh, sure. Graves, G-R-A-V as in Victor, E-S, Marcusi, M-A-R-C-U-C-C-I. Can you tell us how often the blowdown emergencies happen?
Emergencies are emergencies. There's no frequency or prediction.
Well, oftentimes, when you get air permits, there are limits to the emissions. And, for example, at the Houston plant, there are oftentimes emergencies, but they happen pretty frequently, like hundreds of pages of them. So just kind of wanted to see if there's like any idea, like from some of your other compressor stations, maybe. Do you have any idea of like how many happen at some of your other compressor stations, just to give people kind of an average?
I don't have that number.
Can you get that number?
Well, one, this is a compressor station, not a...
I understand,
It's not Houston.
I know, but I understand
Well, no,
that, but compressor,
you
but I just...
specified Houston
Right,
having multiple things.
because they're a company, but I'm just
Right,
saying,
but
and then I followed it up by asking the question
Okay.
at some of their other
I just
compressor
wanted to
stations.
clarify that this is not a
I understand that, I understand the difference, but I'm just using that as an example. I mean, surely they keep records of that, so it would be really great for the board and the citizens to know, on average, how often that happens at other Northwest compressor units.
All of that information would be recorded and submitted to the Pennsylvania DEP.
Would you submit that to the township so they could see it as well?
In 3 months.
It's just, I'm asking for information so they can make, informed decisions, that's all, just
The
so.
township has approved the development of a compressor station.
Anybody else?
So you said there's 4 compressors going in now?
Yes, sir.
And what's the future for more compressors?
That, as the pad is laid out, currently, it looks like that is full built.
But you have what, 200 acres here, am I correct?
We do.
So you can expand it in more compressor stations if you wanted to.
Potentially, yes, but at this time, we do not have plans for that
And I have a question.
on that property.
Okay, I'm sorry. I have a question to the board. Why did you vote no, Mark?
My specific reason is that the last documentation I saw from our township engineer had several things in writing that said pending and that they were under review. I feel this is a scope of a project that every T and every I should be dotted in writing, and I wanted to see it in writing before I would agree to approval at this point. Simple.
Now, are those things going to be approved later on that you're concerned about?
Are they going to be approved? They were part of the motion, but I wanted to see it up front done before something like that was approved.
I was just wondering why you...
That was my reason.
Okay.
Thank you.
Kathy Lodge, Conrad Drive. I don't know who to ask this to, but it was your documents for the compressor station that you approved is for Cybus, and there was mention of, it was first called Imperial. So is there an Imperial compressor station pending, or is the Cybus compressor station, the Imperial compressor station, or just a different name?
It's just a name.
You had mentioned it, Rob. so-
I had mentioned it.
But it comes up on the DEPE notices as two separate permits under review. So can you explain why there are two separate permits under review this time?
We have not submitted to the township for land development for what will be known as the Imperial compressor station.
So a separate compressor station?
Yes.
That's not what you said earlier. You said that that was going to be renamed and merged together is what I understood.
No, I did not say that. I said there was a name change.
To which one?
Originally, this application that has been approved was called Cybus.
What?
I beg your pardon, it was called Imperial. It, for the DEP's purposes, because it was on the Imperial lands property. We also own property that we purchased from Cybus Ranch.
In a different location with a different latitude and longitude?
Yes.
Okay, so there are two, let me just make sure I'm following. I'm just trying to clarify. So there's two different ones? Two
There are
different
two.
ones. Okay.
I understand. All right. Anybody else?
So, but wait,
Your-
no, but that's, we're asking for clarification because there's
Your
two
board-
permits under review at
That's-
the DEP.
And that is fine, but this time is questions to be directed to the board. And if you so choose,
Okay.
you want to direct that into Northwest and set up a meeting.
Well, I'm just, okay, so I'll ask you the question, can you ask Northwest to please clarify, because there's a lot of confusion. It sounds like there's something that was applied for under the Imperial name, which has now changed to the Cybus name, so when did that happen, and do we have documentation on that? And now we're also learning that, because we brought it up tonight, there are two applications under review, and Mr. Lupino just asked, are you looking to expand? Does that mean they're not expanding at the Cybus site, but they're expanding at the Imperial site? So they're really expanding in Robinson, but not on that site? There's a whole lot of confusion here.
Well, they haven't applied for anything yet.
Yeah, but they're
But the
applying to the DEP, so I'm just trying to understand.
But they haven't applied to this board for anything. That's what I'm answering
Well,
the
what,
question.
did your application come in?
One at a time. State your name.
Kathy Lodge. Was your application originally Imperial when they first came to apply for a compressor station in the
Their very
township?
first request to the township was to rezone property for fear of being sued from a group of people. And after a couple of meetings with them, explained to them they didn't need to do a rezone for a compressor station because that's all they're interested in building at this time. We only address the issues they bring to the board.
Right, so then the application that came subsequently for the compressor station, which you just approved tonight, was that for Imperial or for Cybus?
Everything I read is in Cybus Ranch that had to do with what they're here for tonight.
So their initial application to the township was Cybus, not Imperial. And that the Imperial,
Are you talking initially 5 months ago, or are you talking initial application for what we're talking about? What passed?
what you just approved today was
Everything I read
originally
said
always
Cybus.
called Cybus.
Yes.
It says Imperial on the documents.
I have a comment. The engineer his documents say Imperial. I asked this in an informal thing. We're talking about Cyrus. I know it wasn't part of the official meeting, but I was confused myself and said, are these two different compressor stations or one? And the response was, it was renamed. So I guess I'm confused too if there's two physical compressor stations. I mean, it wasn't part of the official meeting, so I'm not going to say who made that statement. But that's what I was led to believe it did. And all the stuff from Lennon Smith says Imperial, and all this stuff says Cyrus. So I'm just as confused.
Here, grab the map real quick.
I know where it is, but it sounds like there is a second.
Okay.
I don't need clarification where it is, but the Mark West representative just said there is a second application to the DEP. So is the second application that different name or just inherited his name?
I mean, I'd be like asking questions about Chrysler. I can only answer the questions that are addressed.
Yeah, but when you
To this
rename
board.
something from Imperial to Cyrus, if that's what occurred,
Planning
and
Commission
now there's
saw
a
it as
new one called
Imperial
Imperial,
land as
that
well.
confuses me.
No interrupting.
That's where I'm confused. If something was named Imperial, got renamed to Cyrus, but now there's another application for Imperial, that's all what I'm curious. I understand that Imperial's not before the board, but was it a rename or was it because there were two different locations that were accidentally sent in with those two different names? Like, did we officially approve Cyrus as a board, even though I disagree, or Imperial, since all the written documentation I see says Imperial and everything I see on the agenda says Cyrus? I'm confused.
It's Cyrus. I'm looking at it right now.
Can I ask just then the clarification? If all of your documents say Imperial,
You're out of time, ma'am. The rules were set long before I took control of this board. You get 3 minutes. I'm sorry.
somebody else can ask.
Anybody else?
Why is there still confusion about that?
And I'll ask the
I
question.
don't think there's any confusion as to application. There's one application, the engineers reviewed it, the planning commission reviewed it, the board reviewed it.
But it
Okay,
says
that says Imperial.
It says there are some name issues, but
That's all I'm
the
saying.
application's the application, it's one application.
If I can just ask one simple question, is the latitude and longitude on there? Because everything that the DEP is reviewing is based on latitude and longitude. And
There's
there are two. We need to clarify the latitude and longitude. That's the way to check it. Because if there are two, if you approved Imperial under a different latitude, under a name Cybus with their latitude, that's a problem.
The board asked Mark West what was approved then?
The board is done discussing that. Thank you very much. Is there any other questions that have
Whoa,
anything
wait
else?
just a second. That,
Remove her, officer. Miss York, goodbye. Chief Dorsey, please extract her from the room. Or please extract Miss York from this room.
I made no comment.
Yes, you
Made
did.
no comment.
Are you going to remove
There it
everyone
is.
that
If I
disagrees
have
with
to.
you?
I'm going to remove
Yes.
everyone that interrupts the meeting.
Then what did she do?
Goodbye, Miss Lodge.
And I'm interrupting the meeting? I'm having a conversation with you and that's an interruption?
Goodbye, Miss Lodge. Does anybody else have any public comments or questions?
I have something going on that subject.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm Kathy Lee, I live at 116 Nature's Way,
Kathy, what was your last name?
Leut. And I just had a thing about the First Energy road occupancy on Nature's Way. What are they going to be doing on that road?
They're going to be coming up, turning off Donaldson Road
Okay.
on Nature's Way, and your first power line, that first high power line, they're going to follow that line, and they're going to build a, what's it called, auxiliary line? It's an auxiliary power line. And so they're going to bring that down, and they're going to rebuild a offshoot off of that line over towards the Mark West compressor facility.
Okay, so how long are those trucks and everything, because the
Yes.
money spent on that, how long are those trucks going to be on my road?
They told me June 1st to June 30th is the downfall. So that's when they're gonna have it lined down. They're gonna bring in, and they told me they had it done by the end of the month, so 30 days. And then they said they would like 1 week to have enough time to pull equipment out of there. So they said the first week of July, everything should be out of there.
Okay, now there'll be people coming and going,
Yes,
or
just only in that section.
up,
Just,
up there?
we're gonna have signs posted that no trucks are beyond this point. So if you see any other trucks turn around in a cul-de-sac, call
Right.
us. They're not calling that portion, it's just to the hill and down.
And my other question is, after they're done doing what they're doing, how long is it gonna take to fix that road to the way it is now?
That's
Because I don't wanna wait 30 days, 2 months, because then by the time, I don't want
Yeah,
that.
you guys just went through
Right,
enough troubles.
Mhm.
So that's what we're gonna do, part of this working agreement, is work that out on that part. So I want it done as soon as they're done. I want the equipment moved in the day that they're moving out. I want that road done. So I don't want you guys went through enough for the last 3 months on that road. So as soon as they're out, I want them in. So go ahead forward.
Could you,
I'm done, yeah.
could you approach the Alex Paris people who made this great road that we enjoy, and thought we would enjoy for in perpetuity almost? Could you name them as the contractor to do any repairs that are necessary since they built it?
If it's over the amount, it has to be bid out, correct? If it's over, what, 9,000?
Alright, you don't know how much we're talking about yet, do you?
It's gonna be the River Road. I think this is the road.
But the options typically are in an excess maintenance agreement that either that entity does the repairs or the township chooses to do the repairs through
Steve?
whatever process they have to go through.
Yeah.
If I may, could Alex Paris be contacted to find out how much the entire road from beginning to end cost?
For total, for them to...
And put that into the prospectus for rebuilding?
Okay. We can only hold them to that amount they use, though. I can't get them to hold the whole entire. That's
Right,
why-
well, if they're not going to go on the rest of the road, but a percentage, whatever the percentage would be.
Okay. Yeah, we can work on that with Timmy.
Thank you.
Let me see what he's gonna tell us real quick on roughly.
I did have one thing about the Alex Paris on our road. After the curb, how they put the curbs in along one side, are they gonna come back and fill it up with dirts? Because now there's a,
Either P American Water or Paris will come back and they're supposed to put dirt now in there to fill us out so they grate nicely.
yeah, because I just didn't want it to be, with the water out in the road.
Yeah, they'll come out and they'll take care of that. We're gonna take some stone out there too to get that, when we go around the cul-de-sac right there, to get that drop off, to kind of level that drop off out. Or we can even, for the cul-de-sacs, if you guys want to blacktop it, we can blacktop that cul-de-sac so it's flush with everything else. So it's up to you guys. They will do that for you.
Do you know how long that'll take to
I can
fix?
call Herman next week.
Okay.
He's out right now for the rest of the week.
Anybody else? Okay. Make a motion to adjourn the meeting at 7:30 p.m.
I'll second.
Yeah.